You're sitting on the sofa, sipping a cup of tea, and reading a book. Your dog is lying beside you, eyes half closed, looking as if it is not paying attention to anything around it. The moment you stand up, before you even turn around, it jumps right into your spot. It spins once, buries its nose into the cushion, presses its body down exactly where you were sitting, then settles there with a deeply satisfied expression. You look at it, and it looks back at you as if to say, "What's wrong with me sitting here?" Would you laugh it off? Or get annoyed and pull it down? Pay attention, because this behavior is not simply about a dog liking warmth and comfort. It is a message your dog sends every single, and you may have been missing it for years. If you want to understand what your dog is saying, keep listening. By the end of this video, you'll understand why it chooses your exact spot and how you should respond so that your relationship with your dog becomes better, instead of turning into a little battle over the seat. To understand this behavior, you first have to understand how dogs experience the world. For dogs, the world does not begin with sight the way it does for humans. Their world begins with smell. Your seat is not just a cushion that is still warm. Your seat is a dense data file, the smell of your skin, your hair, your sweat, your hormones, even the scent of your emotions after a tiring day. You look at the chair and see a chair. Your dog looks at the chair and sees you. A dog's nose has around 300 million olfactory receptors, while humans only have about 6 million. That means a dog's sense of smell can be 10,000 to 100,000 times more sensitive than ours, depending on the breed. In simple terms, what you call a very faint smell may be an enormous map of information to a dog. That is why many dogs do not just lie in your seat. They bury their nose into the cushion, inhale deeply, then exhale slowly, as if soothing themselves. This behavior is very close to what can be described as scent soaking, meaning that the dog wraps itself in the scent of the person it is bonded with. This may activate the reward system in the brain, increase feelings of safety, reduce stress, and biologically may be linked to increased oxytocin and reduced cortisol. Put simply, your seat may feel like an emotional blanket to your dog. Not because the chair itself is special, but because you are in it. When a dog jumps into its owner's seat, many people immediately think it is challenging authority, testing boundaries, or trying to be the alpha. But modern behavioral science does not support that explanation. The American Veterinary Society of Animal Behavior also advises against mechanically using dominance theory to interpret human-dog interactions. In most cases, when a dog takes your seat, it is not trying to overpower you. It is seeking out a place associated with the most important person in its life. For a dog, staying close to the scent, resting place, or traces of the individual it is attached to is completely natural. So when it lies exactly where you were sitting, it is not necessarily thinking, "I stole this spot," but something much closer to, "That person was just here, and I want to stay where their scent still remains." You see the same logic in many familiar behaviors. Dogs like lying on unwashed clothes, hugging shoes, leaning against pillows, or crawling into blankets that smell like their owner. Those things are not always the most convenient, but they all retain traces of you, and your seat is the place where your presence is most concentrated. At this point, it is only fair to say that the theory, "it likes the spot because it is still warm," is not wrong. It is just incomplete. Dogs have a normal body temperature of around 37.8 to 39.2 degrees Celsius, usually a bit higher than humans. Because of that, they naturally seek out warm surfaces to rest on. When you leave your seat, body heat transfers into the cushion, creating a warm area that is highly appealing. In terms of thermoregulation, this is a perfectly reasonable choice. Resting on a warm surface helps a dog conserve more energy than lying on a cold one. But the problem is this: if warmth were the only reason, your house would not have just one warm place. There are other chairs, and the dog probably also has its own bed. End of quote. So why do so many dogs choose your exact spot instead of just any warm place? Because your spot combines three things at once. It is warm, it smells like you, and it is associated with the sense of safety your dog links to you. That combination is what makes the place special. Your dog is seeking a spot that calms its nervous system. This is where it gets interesting. In many households, there are several people and several seats. Yet the dog often heads straight for one particular person's spot, and that person is usually the one it is most strongly bonded to. That shows the behavior is not random. It means you are the person most strongly associated with that seat. Dogs are masters at building a social map of the home. They know who feeds them, who takes them for walks, who cuddles them, who calls their name, who makes them feel safest. Because of that, they also know very well who is the center of attachment in their world. There is a fascinating detail here that many people have seen but rarely think about. You are still sitting there. You have not stood up yet. You have not made any obvious move. And yet, the dog has already lifted its head. It is staring at you, ears slightly raised, eyes locked onto you, as if it is scanning every millimeter of your movement. It feels strange, almost like it knows you are about to stand up before you have even decided to do it. And most likely, it really does know. Dogs are like living pattern recognition machines. They do not wait until you stand up and then think, "Oh, the human is leaving." They read you through tiny signals that you do not even notice yourself. The way you shift in the chair, a slight movement of your hips, the way your weight settles into your feet, the sound of your phone being placed face down on the table, a subtle change in breathing, the rustle of fabric. These are all things so small and ordinary that humans barely register them. But to a dog, they are data. They are advanced signals. That is why sometimes, before the seat is even empty, your dog has already loaded the plan. It knows the exact moment to jump up, the shortest route to reach the spot, and how to seize the moment before the warmth and scent begin to fade. That detail is what makes the behavior so fascinating. This is not just an emotional impulse or a cute habit. It is the result of observation, memory, and remarkably accurate prediction. Your dog is not only waiting for the moment you get up, it is also quietly learning the map of your habits. Day after day, it sees you return to that exact spot to relax, to watch TV, read, rest, sit still, be calm. In its mind, that spot gets labeled safe. Dogs learn socially. You do not have to command them. If you repeat something often enough, they understand on their own which places are trustworthy. So when you leave, it moves into that spot not only because it is still warm, it moves toward the anchor point that you yourself have taught it. This is a place where you can let your guard down. That is why the behavior is not random at all. It is logical and, in a way, a little touching, because your dog is not just looking for a place that has you in it. It is looking for the place where it believes everything will be okay. Although most of this behavior reflects attachment, there is one exception you should not ignore. If your dog does not just lie in your seat but also stiffens, stares, growls, bares its teeth, or reacts aggressively when you try to sit down again or ask it to move, then the situation may be different. That may be a sign of resource guarding. This is very important to note. In that situation, you should not drag the dog down by force. That can easily escalate the conflict. A safer approach is to use positive trade-offs. Guide the dog away from the spot with another valuable reward, and, if needed, address it through appropriate behavioral training. So the next time you stand up and your dog immediately jumps into your seat, understand this. It is seeking the place where your scent is strongest, where your warmth remains, and where it can relax in connection with the person it is most attached to. And perhaps, once you understand that, this small behavior will touch you a little more deeply. It is not loud or dramatic. It is simply quiet, like the love and loyalty your dog has for you. So is this behavior the same in cats? Partly, yes. Cats may also like places that are still warm. They may also seek out clothes, pillows, chairs, or spots that retain the familiar scent of the person they feel safe with. At the surface level, the logic of warmth plus familiar scent plus comfort can absolutely exist in both cats and dogs. But if we go deeper, the way we just analyzed it in dogs, we should not rush to say the two behaviors are exactly the same. For cats, unless there is an equivalent body of research to compare directly, the more careful way to say it is this. Cats may do something similar at the level of warmth and familiar scent, but the social attachment, the way they read humans, and the deeper meaning behind the behavior may not be exactly the same as in dogs. And that is also one of the most interesting things about living with animals, is it not? Stay with Mindful Canine and look forward to our upcoming videos about dog behavior, emotions, and the canine nervous system, so you can understand your dog more deeply and love them even more.